Hello everybody and welcome back to Robert's Reviews. Today will be the most controversial review that I do. Because most of you love the movie that I'm about to review. Excuse me, wow, I just started really hard. The movie that I'm about to review, most of you really enjoy. I know that the people that watch my channel, specifically, really enjoyed this one. I did not. I'm really excited to talk about it though. I've been meaning to talk to this to people for a long time. I'm very excited to talk about this today and to share my thoughts with you and to see if we have similar thoughts or to see if they differ. So make sure you guys are subscribing because it really helps me out and I would love that. And comment down below what you thought about this movie. And I really would like to have a full-on conversation in the comments about this because I like your opinion and I appreciate your opinion. And I'd love talking about this movie, so I'm really excited to talk about Captain America: Civil War. Captain America: Civil War was released in 2016. It was written by Christopher Marcus and Stephen McFeely, and it was directed by the Russo brothers. This was, I think, the second Russo brothers film that Marvel did. The first one being Captain America 2: Winter Soldier. So essentially, what happens in this film is this is Avengers 2.5, by the way, in case you didn't really know. It includes all the characters from before, and they're like, oh, let's just call it a Captain America movie for some reason. Why not just call it Captain America or Avengers 3, and then have 4 and 5, and then we could have ended the phase on the 5th Avengers film instead of the 4th one, which just feels kind of weird. But whatever. This is really just Avengers 2.5. But essentially, what happens in this film, in case you haven't seen it yet, which I don't know how you would have, and if you have, this is a quick recap. Basically, it follows Avengers: Age of Ultron, where they dropped Sokovia and hundreds of people died. And you can see that Robert Downey Jr. is upset by this because people are blaming them for killing those people, even though it was the right thing to do, right? We all agree that what they did was the right thing, because if they just let Ultron take it, many more people would have died, right? So it comes down to people lived, people died. They kind of sort of chose who lived and died, right? Because they were like, okay, we have to do this, it's going to save more people. But then it comes down to the ethics part of, is saving a few people better than just killing all of them? And obviously, I think, in my opinion, the answer is yes, and Robert Downey Jr. would agree. However, or I should say Tony Stark, I don't know why I said Robert Downey Jr. Tony Stark would agree. However, it's complicated because the people that lived are mad because they accidentally killed, their family. One particular person was like, hey, just so you know, this is my son, and they show him a picture. My hair's crazy today. I'm getting it cut this weekend, so that'll be good. Sorry. And this person's like, you killed my son. And he's like, I was trying to save people. And she's like, yeah, but you ended up killing him anyway. So it hurts Tony Stark in a deep way. But Captain America totally thinks it's the right thing to do and doesn't think that any of it should be on them, even though it kind of should be. I'm more of a Team Iron Man. In case you were wondering, I'm a Team Iron Man because I think we do need some government regulation. I don't think that we should have no government. We should have some government regulation. So essentially what happens is they have the Sokovia Accords, which is a giant, thick rule book saying that the Avengers can only act when the government would like them to act. And Tony Stark's like, yeah, good idea, because that way it's not on us if something goes wrong. We need to be regulated because we get people into trouble and we do a lot of things that get a lot of people killed, such as in Captain America: Civil War, they're at the place signing the Sokovia Accords, and the place gets bombed by who they pin on Sebastian Stan's character, the Winter Soldier. Obviously, it wasn't him, but they pin it on him. And just the Avengers being there causes problems. So I think it should be regulated to a certain extent where they have to follow some kind of rules as to what can happen. What happens is they have this huge argument over whether or not they should sign the Accords, right? Because they can just choose to not have government regulation and then run their own thing, but then everything's on them. Everything that they do wrong is on them, right? Every death that they didn't help is on them at that point. Tony Stark would like it to be on the government. That would be not his problem. He can have less stress. We've seen him have anxiety attacks left and right over the entire MCU. So we have Team Captain America and Team Iron Man. I'm on Team Iron Man for the most part. And essentially it's Captain America's who is like, we need to not have government regulation. We cannot sign these accords. And then we have Team Iron Man who fully believes we should sign the accords and have the government regulate most of their agenda. So, Team Captain America is Captain America, Winter Soldier, Falcon, Hawkeye, Scarlet Witch, and Ant-Man, who is a new recruit to the Avengers scene, right? Because the last time we saw Ant-Man was in Ant-Man 1, the movie, and now we see him in Captain America Civil War, because Captain America's like, well, Falcon's like, oh, I fought him, so I know where he is, and then he goes to get him to recruit him onto the team. And Ant-Man's like, oh, I'll help Captain America, sure. He doesn't really understand the situation, which is fine, whatever. And then Team Iron Man, we have, of course, Iron Man. We have Black Widow, War Machine, Black Panther, who's a new character to the entire MCU. I'll talk about that in a second. Vision, and also Spider-Man, which is a new character to the MCU. So, one quick note before I talk about acting. I'm only including pictures for the new people because it would take me 30 years to edit this if I had to include all the pictures. So I'll only be including pictures for Chadwick Boseman and Tom Holland. The rest of them I've already talked about and included pictures for in previous videos about the Avengers. I'm sure you know who is who. So essentially what happens is they fight for like this huge 5-minute fight, 5, 10-minute, 20-minute fight, something like that. And then it resolves, kind of, sort of, and then we find out that the Winter Soldier killed Tony Stark's parents. And Tony Stark goes crazy and ballistic and starts trying to kill Captain America and the Winter Soldier. And eventually it's sort of a tie, I guess. And then Captain America and Tony Stark separate, and that will bring us to Infinity War. My biggest problem with this movie is it's very slow. They advertise this movie to be like the biggest movie of history. They're like, yes, we're going to have this huge fight thing. And the fight thing lasted like 20 minutes maximum. And it took so long to get there, and it kind of was boring. I like it more now that I've watched it like 5 or 6 times, and I like the government thing, and I like the politics of it, but it's still slow. It's very slow, and in my opinion, it is not the best Avengers movie, and is definitely not the best Captain America movie. It is actually quite low on my list. I have a list of them ranked. It's quite low in terms of MCU movies. I know a lot of you really like this movie. I just couldn't wrap my head around it and make sure that it was just so long for no reason. This could have been a much shorter movie, and they should have advertised it the way it was, which is a movie about politics. They were like, it's a fight movie. They fight, and they're like, oh, but they have like 3 hours. It's not really 3 hours. It's more like an hour and a half of politics, and then half an hour of this cool fight scene that really didn't make sense. Let's talk briefly about acting, but not too long about it, and then we'll cut the video off for you. Chris Evans as Captain America. I love Captain America in this movie. I think this is one of his better performances. I think he was better in Winter Soldier, but this was solid. I liked that he had his morals. Like, no, we don't need government regulation. We are the Avengers. We can take care of it. And I liked that we had him stick to those morals, because we need to make sure that we have somebody stick to some morals. Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man. Iron Man's great. I like Iron Man a lot. I think he's one of my favorite characters in the MCU, and I think that, I'm Team Iron Man. I think we should have some government regulation in what, at least the Avengers should, because they cause a lot of damage. He was great. He's always great in everything he does. Scarlett Johansson is Black Widow. She's more of a liquid partner, where she kind of helps Captain America sometimes and kind of helps Iron Man, but she's officially Team Iron Man. But she's the reason that Captain America gets away kind of in the big fight. Sebastian Stan as the Winter Soldier, Bucky Barnes. His character is more interesting because he's framed for something he didn't do, and we kind of watch him grow a little bit and become more of an Avenger than he was before. So it was really nice to get to see that, and I'm really happy we got to see that. Anthony Mackie as the Falcon. So first of all, we have the Falcon and Winter Soldier coming out with both Sebastian Stan and Anthony Mackie. Super excited to watch that. That comes out like March 17th or something like that. He was solid. I like Anthony Mackie a lot as an actor. I think he's fun to watch, and I really enjoyed his performance here. Don Cheadle, I'm honestly not a huge Don Cheadle fan. I don't think he's fantastic in these movies, but he does get hurt in this movie pretty bad. They like shoot him down and he becomes paralyzed. So they have to get him like these new like pants that can like help him move and walk. It was more of a side plot we didn't really need, but it was like, oh, well, we need to like show that somebody can get hurt during these movies. And like, oh, but don't kill him. Just kill someone off for God's sakes. God. Jeremy Renner as Hawkeye. So Hawkeye is kind of like in between this whole like retirement thing, and like I liked him more earlier. I think he was better earlier. I liked seeing him in the earlier films, particularly The Winter Soldier, a lot more than Civil War. And I think he's great in Endgame. I think he's fantastic in Endgame. I'm really excited to talk about Endgame when we get there, and particularly about Jeremy Renner. Chadwick Boseman. Let me write something down real quick. Chadwick Boseman, first of all, rest in peace, rest in power. He did pass away in 2020. It was one of the bigger devastations of 2020, in my opinion. We lost a fantastic human being and a great actor, so rest in peace. But he was fantastic in this movie. He is the Black Panther. So he is the son of a king, and the king dies when this bomb explodes that they pin on the Winter Soldier. And Black Panther thinks it's the Winter Soldier's fault. So he joins Iron Man's team and is fighting against the Winter Soldier so that he can kill him, essentially. We'll get more into the Black Panther and how that works when we talk about Black Panther in the future. And it's like a couple movies away, so look out for that. It'll probably come out in February. Maybe March. Paul Bettany as Vision. I'm not a huge Vision fan. I know a lot of people are. I'm not a huge Vision fan. In my opinion, he's kind of OP and shouldn't ever get hurt by anything ever, which is always a problem when you have that kind of character. But overall, not a bad character. I am very excited to watch him in WandaVision, which comes out. Let's see, when is this being released? In like a week. Holy crap! Wow, it's exciting. I'm really excited to watch that. There will be a review on that as soon as I finish the show. Elizabeth Olsen as Wanda Maximoff, the Scarlet Witch. She is also in WandaVision, of course, so super excited about that. In this movie, she's not great, in my opinion. I didn't really like her in this movie. I just couldn't like her. I like her a lot when we get to Infinity War. It comes to, I think we get a lot more character development in Infinity War and Endgame than we do in the movie. This movie, everyone's kind of like, this is what I think forever, unless you're Black Widow, who's like, I don't really know. You know, I felt like it was long and really didn't need all those character arcs that really nothing changed. Paul Rudd as Ant-Man was hilarious, and honestly, one of my favorite performances in this film. I think he was hilarious and fun to watch, and it was exciting to see him like play with all the other characters. Like, yo, you're Captain America. He's like starstruck, almost like Spider-Man. Which brings me to Tom freaking Holland as Peter Parker, Spider-Man. So I awaited this for like my life. I'm a huge Spider-Man fan. I've loved Spider-Man since like the day I was born. I grew up with Tobey Maguire. I watched the Andrew Garfield ones like a bunch of times because I thought it was like kind of okay. And then Tom Holland comes out as Spider-Man in this film and honestly elevates this film to no end. Every time Spider-Man's on screen in this film, it's funny. It's great. His web slinging is just so good, and like he's so perfect in this film. I love it so much. I can't wait to talk about Spider-Man Homecoming. It's one of my favorite films of all time. Solid performance by Tom Holland. I've never seen a bad performance by Tom Holland. I will be doing like a series about Tom Holland, but really he's only been like 3 movies before this, so I will be doing that at some point. I'll be reviewing those. In case you don't know, I did review The Devil All the Time, which stars Tom Holland on Netflix. And I reviewed that early in the channel. So if you search Robert's Reviews Devil All the Time, this will come up. The link to that will come up, and you should watch it because it's my favorite review, I think, in my opinion. It's my favorite movie that I've watched in 2020 independently that I haven't already seen. It's like so good. I love it so much. So make sure you check that out with Tom Holland because he's great. I have talked for a very long time, so I'm going to wrap it up. Overall, like, no, it's not a bad movie. I'm not saying it's a bad movie. I'm saying it's got way too much hype for what it actually is, which really is a political movie with a little bit of fighting in it. And I'm just going to give the movie a C. I think it was fine. It wasn't bad. It wasn't great. I think it did not exceed expectations. I think it just kind of was like, yeah, that's what I thought the movie was going to be about, and that's really it. With that, make sure you guys are subscribing. It really helps me out a lot. Comment down below what you thought about Civil War. I know a lot of you have a lot of opinions, and a lot of them are probably upset with me right now that I gave it a C. I'm sorry. It's my opinion. But make sure you're subscribing. It really helps me out a lot. So comment down below what you want to see next. Join the Facebook group in the comments, in the description box below. Hit join group, and I'll add you as soon as I get the notification. And you will be a part of the Roberts Reviews Facebook group. With that, make sure you guys are watching movies and television. Stay educated, and I'll see you guys in the next video.